Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. This is for July 12th, 2024. This would be episode 226. Stand-up comedian, actor, and improviser Paul Green coming to you, documenting my journey as I pursue my dreams and sharing whatever tidbits of wisdom or lack of wisdom I ascertain on the path. So, yesterday started off a little interesting. It started off with me playing the one and only Batman. It's actually not the one and only. There's probably millions of Batmans now. So, yes, I dressed up as Batman and then walked around a daycare. Don't worry, I was invited. It's not like I just decided to do that. That would be kind of weird. Was there a Batman at our daycare?
I just wanted to come say hello. I felt compelled from deep within.
So, yes, I was hired to play Batman and walk around this daycare. What was sort of comedic about the whole venture is the daycare had very, very young children. I think there was even a classroom of like 1-year-olds who were just sort of sprawled out during nap time. And I'm just thinking, why the heck am I walking dressed as Batman into a classroom with like 4 toddlers? They're not even toddlers, infants. They were not even toddling yet. But that's what I did. The first, I think, 3 classrooms that I walked into, the infants was the last classroom, but the first couple, I think they started me at like 2-year-olds. And I just walked in, and half of the class just broke out into tears, which made perfect sense to me. Why a daycare thought that, a gigantic humanoid bat walking into their humble, peaceful classroom full of bright colors and Legos and coloring books would elicit anything other than absolute terror is a mystery to me. What was really interesting, though, is like those first 3 classes, it wasn't the entire class that broke into tears. It would, like the first class, which again was maybe 2 to 3-year-olds, like half of them broke into tears and ran behind their teacher. But then the other half of the classroom was curious, and these little kids just came up and were like giving me high fives. They were old enough to know how to give high fives. And I don't know, that was intriguing to me just to see how already at such a young age there's such a differentiation between personalities and interests or fears, or what is something that a 2-year-old finds absolutely terrifying, and what is that or how does that exact same thing come across as something to be curious about? Just those sort of, that's very interesting. But I had a blast. The kids were awesome. I did get a chance to, once the classrooms got a little older, once they got into like 5-6-year-olds, those classes, actually, a lot of them knew who I was. They knew like Batman, and they were like really excited to have Batman, and that was nice. I got to sit down and read some Batman stories to the kids and do more of a interactive type storytelling where I would, get the kids to make their superhero poses and have them cheer when Batman did something good and then boo the Joker and blah, 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 blah. So that was fun. It was a fun hang. Aside from that, I have really started refocusing on writing new material. I've generated about 20 minutes of new material since I started over back in about March or April. I'm about 20 minutes new material, and that material is pretty well dialed in. I've now had an opportunity to headline that material and feature with that material, and all of it's going really well and feels really good. So now I have to take the next step, which is doing that 2 more times. So it's like, all right, I've got 20 minutes of really good stuff. I need 60 minutes. So I need to go back to the drawing board, start writing just from scratch again, which is, it's a little daunting. It's a little daunting just to look at that blank sheet of paper and just go, all right, I have no idea what's going to come out of this noggin. I just got to get the pen moving on paper. So I've been writing not a ton. I've been getting about an hour in the last couple of days. Truthfully, it hasn't been a super good focused hour of writing. I need to get a little bit better at that as well, of really making sure that when I'm writing that I'm honing in, that I'm very focused. I have the cell phone turned off. A lot of times I like to write. I like to just go to a restaurant and then just, plant myself down in a booth, get something to drink, get something to eat, and then I plug in my earbuds and I play like meditation type white noise in my ears, so it sort of cuts everything out. And then just pen to paper, man. Pen to paper. I just have to challenge myself, because what I have learned, the thing to not do is to think, oh, I need to write something funny right now. Oh, I need to write the next big joke, the next great bit. I have found that approach really leans itself to writer's block and immediate disappointment and frustration. I've found the best strategy to at least the best approach mentally is to go, I don't have to write anything funny. I don't have to write the next big joke. All I need to do is just write anything and just start moving pen to paper. And so a lot of times that'll involve is I'll literally just start journaling my day, even if it's been a boring day, just to get the ideas out of my head and onto paper. And once I start journaling my ideas, then the next thing is to just start journaling whatever it is that I'm thinking about. What are my opinions? What are my honest thoughts? What do I hate? What do I love? What's annoying me? What's frustrating me? What's upsetting me? And just start doing that just to get, again, more ideas out of my head and onto paper. Eventually, when I'm doing that, some sort of thought or opinion or emotion that I have will start to, kind of rise to the top. And that will then allow me to start to really dive into, what do I really think about this? What do I really feel about this? And then how can I demonstrate that in a comedic way? And how can I illustrate that opinion or that thought or whatever it is in a comedic way? What sort of comedic analogies or parallels can I make? And so that is typically my process, but every time I sit down to write, I have to get myself into that process. It is not an it doesn't just happen naturally for me still. I'm still working on generating that skill set to do that more consistently and more effectively. But it's got to be done. I've got to get the writing done. My whole goal setting out to do this was to get a whole brand new hour of material that was all consistent within the new style of writing that I've adapted. It's new to me. It's not new to comedy. It's been around for a while. But if you're new to joining me, about 3 or 4 months ago, I had an experience that pretty much pointed out that a lot of my approach to stand-up comedy was probably not working in my favor, and that I should really look at revamping not only my whole comedic set, but revamping my whole approach to writing and to comedy, stand-up comedy in general. And so it was a real challenge. It was a little daunting, but I just made a decision at that point in my life that I was going to throw out all of my old material. I wasn't going to do it anymore, and I was going to just start writing from scratch and rewrite a whole new set with that new joke structure, with that new approach. And so, yeah, I'm about 3 to 4 months in there. I'm about 20 minutes of material, and I want to get to 60. So that is the objective. Now, that is the update on the comedy side. Now, the other thing that I've been doing, just out of sheer amusement for myself, is I have been breaking down the book 48 Laws of Power, which I initially bought with the intention that it was a self-help book, which I'm way into. I love me some self-help, I'm all about growth and improvement and finding ways to live a more effective, fulfilling, successful life, whatever that means. And that's what I thought I would be getting from that book. I have found it to be very different than what my expectations were going into the book. And I have found a lot of the book actually incredibly disturbing. It just is a very cynical book, and just paints a very cynical, I don't even know else how to describe it. The laws of power, a lot of them are, to me, just incredibly manipulative and, quite frankly, downright evil, at least how I would define evil. So instead of me just putting the book down and saying, this isn't for me, I've been doing the opposite. I have been reading to it. When I say reading, I mean listening to it on Audible. And just as a fun little exercise, I've been talking about each law of power, what I actually feel about it, and then discussing perhaps, to me, a way to live life that is maybe not so cynical and not so evil, but that perhaps will yield maybe the same, or not the same, but will yield results that are still desirable, but maybe not so centered around absolute power at the expense of all other human beings. So, saying all of that, the next chapter, or the next law of power, actually happened to be one that I agree with wholeheartedly. How about that? So I think it's the 9th law, if I remember correctly. And the 9th law is take action, never argue, or something like that. Let me get the exact wording. Okay, it's win through your actions, never through argument. And that's actually a principle I can totally get behind. Winning through actions and not through argument, because you're never going to argue your way I don't think arguing is ever a successful strategy. Well, depending on, I should never say never. I guess if you're a lawyer or an attorney, you got to argue your points. You got to argue your case. Got to tell your stories. But I've actually been thinking a lot about the principle of taking action, and the more I dive into what it is I'm going for in life, all my hopes and all my dreams, at the end of the day, I actually think that action is the only thing. And I do mean the only thing. And everything else that we talk about in terms of going for dreams, going for what you're wanting in life, the manifestation, the thought process, the secret, and thinking, and praying, asking the divine, like all of that stuff. I think that that's all fine, but at the end of the day, it is the actions that are taken or the actions that are not taken that reveal whatever life it is that we are seeking. Now, again, I've talked about this before, and sure, we could say, well, thought precedes action, and that's definitely true. But there are plenty of thoughts that happen that do not result in action, or thoughts that were had and that were a good idea, but were not acted upon for whatever myriad of reasons. So I'm not discounting that there is so much more to the human psyche and so much more to what leads a human being to take some action versus other actions versus taking no action at all. Definitely am not discounting that, but what I am saying is that all of whatever is happening underneath the action, it is the action or inaction in a vacuum that produces the results, whether those results be favorable or not favorable. And so to have a law of power that says you're going to win through your actions, not through arguing. Yeah, all about that. You're not going to be able to argue somebody into taking your side, or argue somebody into working with you, or arguing somebody into loving you or respecting you, or whatever it is that you're seeking. All you can do is take action that is in the direction of what it is you claim you want, and those actions are going to yield a result. And it's quite possible that the result yielded is not actually the result you were hoping for or the result you intended or expected, but there will be a result. And the only other option is doing nothing, which also produces a result. It's usually a result of nothing. So yeah, get out there and take action. And even not the most correct or the most efficient action taken in the direction of what it is that we want is always going to yield better results than not taking action based off of fear, or based off of embarrassment, or based off of failure or a fear of failure. Like all of those thought processes that hinder us from just moving forward and taking the next logical action step towards what it is that we want. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just better to take action. I mean, even this podcast, I just made a commitment to myself that I was going to pop on and do a daily podcast, and I actually didn't have any ambitions that it would grow or turn into anything big, and to date, it really hasn't. And I'm actually okay with that. What it has done is it has attracted a few very select people in my life who have been tremendous blessings, because they heard this podcast and it resonated with them on whatever level it resonated with them, to where they went, hey, that Paul guy, he's all right. You know what I mean? We like that Paul guy. Hey. So, is this the most efficient action I could be taking towards my comedic dreams? Probably not. Is it the best action? Maybe not. But is it unaction? Oh, it absolutely is. Has it yielded results? It absolutely has. Has it yielded the results I was hoping for, anticipated? Probably actually better, because I didn't actually anticipate a heck of a lot of results from doing this. So anyway, get out there and take action. That's all there is. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Are you going to fail at it? Yes. Are there going to be moments of embarrassment and growth and pain and, things not turning out exactly as you had hoped because of the actions you've taken? Absolutely. Like, inevitable, that's going to happen. But to me, any result is better than no result, to be honest. What if it's negative? Well, that's just information. That's just information on potentially how to take action better the next time. And and I think that is always a better way to go. So everybody, get out there, take the next step in pursuit of your dreams, and I hope it turns out well for you. All right, everybody, I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. I hope your dreams are coming true. Every dream can come true. It can happen to you. All right, everybody. This has been the Paul Green Comedy Podcast for July 12th, 2024, episode 226. I love you all so much, and I will chat with you tomorrow.